Ew, ew, what's that? This is definitely not syrup. Recently, I've been spending my time on TikTok quite often, especially when I was down with COVID. I really tested positive for the past 2 weeks. And I've got to say, TikTok is one of the best ways you can spend recovering from this nasty virus. I was intrigued by a few food photography tips and trick videos and thought of reacting to them today as a professional in this niche myself. And perhaps to be able to try out some of them myself one day. Alright, let's start on our first TikTok video. Alright, this seems to be a compilation of a few different videos together. So, as a start, wow, they are using shaving cream. There is quite a bit of a difference between the shaving cream and the normal icing cream that's being used. I also noticed that there's a color difference between the shaving cream and of course the icing, which the icing looks a bit more yellowish compared with the shaving cream, which looks whiter and definitely more solid. I don't know about you, but I'm also curious of the smell at the food location itself. Alright, here's the second video with the soy sauce added to the water.
Boom. Blue as milk.
Well, for this part, I can see that they are putting the bubbles in, and I don't know how viable it really is, as sometimes the bubbles does subside or just fade away once you put it out for too long. So I'm pretty sure that there are quite a bit of color edits made to the photo to be able to get that top-down view. I think it's definitely not a very technically difficult shot to be able to achieve. Now this one I've probably seen it quite often, using glue instead of milk for the cereals.
Looking good.
Just a little small comment, I think the placement of the cereals on the base on the backdrop isn't that good. Basically, it just looks like a crescent. I'd rather it being scattered. Don't you guys think so too? Now, not too long ago, I also believe I did a video on cereal and milk, and the outcome was actually quite pleasant. So I don't think you have to go to such extent to be able to use glue on it. Can you imagine what happens to this bowl after this shoot itself? The glue probably hardens and this whole thing is probably going to be thrown away. So a little bit wasted on the resources. Now as they put both side by side, I don't know about you, but definitely the one with milk looks more natural. The milk does look a little bit more yellowish and natural compared with the one with the glue, which seems to be a very hard surface. So I think this one does not make a very big difference, but if you want that look of the glue, do go for it. Alright, let's move on to our second video.
I used fishing wire to create different levels for the food to sit on.
Now this one I've seen quite often is actually using just a fishing line to be able to suspend all of the ingredients in mid-air. And okay, the effect does look quite interesting. It is a video, not necessarily a photo, and it makes all of the items kind of like elevate and float away. I've got no issue with this. I think it's a rather easy video to do because like keying away a very thin line is definitely much easier than to key away something which is of a harder or a darker line. But I think the outcome does not really look very impressive. I don't know what do you guys think. I would rather just a photo that looks something like this. You got to have a very specific purpose for all of these ingredients to float in this particular direction. I figured maybe they will have something on the top, such as the company logo, maybe Subway or something, to be able to fill up this empty space. I do also wish that they have a nicer container. I mean, this container looks a bit kind of mass manufactured. I wish it looked something more stylish, maybe just coming out from a plate or something that looks more expensive and aesthetically pleasing. This one just looks very commercialized. But I've got to say, this is definitely very doable. Just needs quite a bit of a time and spending to be able to edit the lines away. Okay, let's move on to our third video. Ew, what's that? It looks like some Play-Doh or some very kids toy thing. They just remove it. And can you notice how flawless the pancake looks after this thing has been removed? This is definitely not syrup. Maybe one that's expired for a freaking long time. But I'll definitely not do that. I mean, it looks quite disgusting, honestly. It's quite patchy. I mean, you look at the very first frame, it does look like it's very patchy, like it's just on one particular spot. Can you imagine if you want to have a very natural looking syrup filled pancake shot, you got to put quite a bit of this material on it. Now, it's definitely not something I'll be trying anytime soon, as I think the effect that comes out of it is not necessarily very desirable. Now, before I move on to our 4th and 5th content, if you guys like my video, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Now, let's move on to our 4th video. So our 4th video is a burger shot. Looks quite delicious. I've not had my lunch yet. Okay, quite a simple and straightforward videos. As you can see, once it turns from the front all the way to the back, you can see a lot of pins and needles through the burger itself. Now, this is a very common practice, especially for food photographers, to be able to keep all these ingredients in place. You want to have the perfect placement so that you're able to see the correct portion of meat, veggies, cheese, or whatever you have on the burger itself. For me personally, I would use more of my toothpicks, as you can just use it and throw it away without having to clean it. Toothpicks are actually cheaper and definitely more organic. For me, it's just a preference. Alright, so moving on to our 5th and last video. Okay, I mean, it looks very interesting. Just putting it on a flat white surface and just pushing it up. I really like this sweet potato puffs one. The ingredients are very fine, so I think they probably just superimpose all of the different pieces of potato puffs or cheddar cheese crackers. Now, one thing you also have to notice is that they actually put this pole on top of this packaging to be able to hold it in place. And also, if you can notice, the lights that's being used is not a continuous light, there's a flash. And this particular frame, you can see there's actually a flash. So all these flash lightings are actually called strobes. There are of course different types of strobes. I myself have been using them in the past. It does give a much stronger flash of light than all of this continuous light if you need a very fast exposure shot. But I figured that it does take quite a bit of time to be able to get the shot. You have to probably do this 5 or 6 times to be able to get the correct placement of all of these ingredients at the background. You'll be able to appreciate that the ingredients that comes out from whatever product that is, it flying like in your face. It does not look overproduced or underproduced. It looks really fine, even commercially. I mean, it's really simple. All you need is the pole, the background to be able to push it up, and just a few shots. And of course, some editing to the photo to make it more realistic and wholesome. I mean, complete. Now, this video is definitely something that I want to try out in the near future. I mean, it looks very simple and the effects that comes out of it is quite impressive. So, I hope you guys like my reaction videos. What do you guys think about these few videos? Have you come across other videos which are as interesting as well? Do leave me down in the comments below. If you guys are starting your photography journey and do not know where to start, I myself have a photography tips release over here, which I've compiled, and some of them might be quite interesting and easy to be able to get you started. If not, I'll see you guys in the next video.